Hey guys, Ruminating Reaper here. So I've just finished watching The Rip on Netflix. This is of course written and directed by Joe Carnahan. It's actually notably an artist's equity production. This is of course the production company that was founded by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon to ensure that all the below the line talent actually gets fair pay. And how they're working this one is apparently they're getting paid by actual streams. So Netflix can't just hide behind, a huge hit, gazillion minutes streamed. They have to actually be honest about how successful it is, so based. And even then, this is the kind of film that I normally enjoy anyway. And of course, with Affleck and Damon starring, yeah, I expected great things from this. But does this deliver a reliable and entertaining cop thriller? Let's find out. So the film follows a narcotics unit within the Miami PD, known as TNT. The group are still reeling from the death of their captain, Jackie, when they receive a Crime Stopper tip for a cartel stash house. So the group heads out to the property to investigate and retrieve the money as part of an operation known as a RIP. But the job turns out not to be as simple as initially suspected, as they come under danger not just from the cartel, but also from each other, as tensions arise when personal secrets and conflicting agendas come to light. So if you've watched my channel long enough, then you'll know that I'm very much an enjoyer of these kind of mid-budget action thrillers. It's a shame to see them largely swallowed up by the Netflix streaming machine, but whenever a new one like this comes out, I will happily watch. And to be honest, this is a very, very timely reminder that Netflix can sometimes actually release good movies when they actually put their finger out, because yeah, this is cracking stuff. Okay, so right off the bat, the sort of opening stretch of this is kind of rough. It's very choppy and kind of clunky, and I wasn't quite feeling it. Don't get me wrong, there is a lot of very important stuff in this opening stretch. It establishes vital character motivations that do play into the overall plot by the end. But yeah, the approach to actually delivering this stuff is kind of choppy and clunky, and it does take a little bit for it to actually find its footing, but thankfully it does. And when the nature of the plot actually reveals itself, it is incredibly compelling stuff. This is the kind of thriller that's very tightly focused and contained in its approach. This is set by and large in the one location, the cartel stash house, and it's very much built on character dynamics and sharp dialogue to keep the plot moving at a compelling pace. It doesn't exactly reinvent the corrupt cop thriller. In fact, there's some reveals in here that you'll probably see coming, but these are, very, familiar ingredients and a very simple setup, very reliably executed, and does a really good job of building suspense and tension throughout. There is action to be found here. There's a couple of well-placed and, tense shootouts. But by and large, this is very much built around the characters and the dialogue to keep the ball rolling in a very, very compelling way. And it helps as well, the cast are great and the characters are very interesting. Obviously, this is very much built around the pairing of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck as Dane and JD, who very much like veteran detectives. There you go. Hit a bit of a clash on this job, and both of them are great here. Damon as Dane does a great job as this guy who obviously has a bit of a personal tragedy that's affecting his judgment and process, and it's very interesting to see how that comes out on the job while Affleck does a great job as this guy who is very much perpetually on edge because his lover was killed on the job. And my God, Affleck might legitimately be the standout of the film. He has some absolutely fantastic scenes in here. But yeah, the whole thing is very much built around their, very established dynamic. And the two of them are great, and it's really fun seeing them play off each other. Of course, we have a very, very reliable and actually pretty stacked ensemble around them as well, Making up the rest of the TNT unit, we have notably Stephen Yeun as Mike, who might be a bit of a snitch, and yeah, he's great. Really looking forward to seeing him again in the next season of Invincible. We also have recent Golden Globe winner, Teyana Taylor, and yes, she was great in One Battle After Another, and she's very, very good here as well, She very much did deserve that win. We also have Sasha Calle as Desiree, who's a woman who actually owns the house that they investigate, who's kind of caught in the middle of this operation. And we also have Kyle Chandler as an agent who is obviously, in contact with JD regarding this whole op. And we also have Scott Adkins as JD's brother, who's an FBI agent. And yes, it's always great seeing Scott Adkins and stuff, and yeah, he is really good here for the screen time he has. In fact, just everyone here in general is really, really good. It's shot very well, very much takes advantage of the sort of vibrance of its Miami setting and the sort of, nighttime shooting. There's some really cool, quite vibrant colors that come from that. And the whole film has a great score, of course, from Clinton Shorter, which does a great job of building this quite tense atmosphere throughout, and has some great sound design, particularly in the very tense shootouts. It's very loud, it's fast, and really builds that sort of edge of your seat tension throughout. It's, it is all just really, really well done. And of course, it builds to an incredibly tense standoff in an armored truck in which we see all these, conflicting agendas and hidden secrets really come to light in exciting and incredibly satisfying fashion. And of course, we get one last cracking shootout and some fist fights and chases. It's just so well done, and actually does give the characters and their sort of inner turmoils that quite satisfying sense of closure as well, that really leaves things off on a good note. It is just incredibly reliable and very entertaining. Overall, The Rip takes very simple ingredients and delivers them very reliably with a grippingly tight and contained approach to its very simple and very effective setup, and great performances from Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Out of 10, The Rip gets an 8. So, let me know down in the comments, have you seen The Rip? What did you think of it? What did you think of Affleck and Damon's performances? What's your favourite collab between the two? And are you excited for what they have in store next? Let me know all that down in the comments. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new. And don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload.